Hey, you guys, and welcome to Steele Wars. I am Steele Saunders, and I do love Star Wars. We are having technical faults straight up the top. Good to know. 0 days without an accident. Running about an hour late because I'm not having a good day. But so this one's going to be pretty quick. Hey to everyone in the chat. It's been yabbering along while they've been waiting for me. I appreciate that. Hey, Lidra, who is letting me know everyone can hear me. Hey, Sam Carey, how you doing? Hey, before we get going, I just want to give everyone a reminder, especially with what we're about to talk about, that the trans rights are human rights. This is the way. Raising money for the Transgender Law Center is still going. We raised $100 for that in the live chat last week, and they are currently at $17,653 raised, which is well over their goal of $15,000. But let's smash it. Let's get it over the $20,000 mark. The link for that is in the show notes. And in bringing that up, let's go to a huge article that the Brez has dropped on us. Wait there, I'll just change my little sale banner, get rid of that. But there is a Black Friday sale still going this week, $9.95 t-shirt, as well as a giant sticker pack. You can get all that at merchostore.com. Help a bro out. And get a sweet t-shirt, like value. You're getting a $25 t-shirt, $10 sticker pack. Oof, $10. That's all I'm going to say. Anthony Breznican gets to interview Rosario Dawson and Dave Filoni in Vanity Fair. Awesome article. Asks all the pertinent nerdy questions we want to hear, but definitely the most important question asked is, as I page down, I think I page past it. There are allegations. This should explain it. This is Breznican's question. Very well worded. Ahsoka does mean a great deal to people, and they're deeply invested in who she is. So, Rosario, I want to ask you about something that's outside of this story of The Mandalorian, and that's the concern in the fandom about a lawsuit that was filed against you last year by a longtime family friend. The claim accused you and other family members of anti-trans bias, and you've called the lawsuit false and baseless. But what do you say to those Star Wars fans who hear this and believe the worst, that you are transphobic? And she says, well, firstly, I just want to say I understand that and why people were concerned and are concerned. I would be too if I heard some of those claims. But I mean, as we're seeing right now in these past months, and just recently, actually, the truth is coming out. Every single claim of discrimination has been dismissed by the person who made them. And as you said, the fact that this is coming from someone I've known since I was a teenager, the better part of my life, and who my family was trying to help, as we have many times in the past, it really just makes me sad. But I still have great empathy for him. Breznican hits the follow-up question. Court records show 18 of the 20 claims were withdrawn voluntarily without a settlement. Very important, without a settlement. And his lawyer left the case. Also interesting. 2 counts remain, alleging a physical altercation, and a judge will rule, and I believe that's on... No, it's definitely not with her. I think it's with her, like Rosario's mum, I think, that this... the 2 counts remain against. Maybe this is brought up. And a judge will rule on whether that can move forward next month. There are people that would say, well, this is just another example of a wealthy, famous person overpowering the system. And they've said that, rightly so. This happens. Boy, does this happen. So what would you say to those people who are unconvinced both about this case and about what you actually believe about trans people? The reason that all of the discrimination claims were dropped is because they didn't happen. I was raised in a very inclusive, loving way, and that's how I've lived my entire life. I've always used my voice to fight for, lift up, and empower the LGBTQA community, and use my platform to channel trans voices in fiction and non-fiction work that I've produced and directed. So I feel the record is really clear. So that's that. It's a tough situation. And should use the word empathy. And I feel like however you feel about these claims and how they interact with your enjoyment of The Mandalorian, have empathy for those that it's a lot harder for them to do that, because through their personal experience, this is something they've gone through. So there is that. Billy Davis says, great article. Jason Buno says, glad he asked this question. Aaron from OKC. Aaron, how you doing, buddy? I don't see you here in the chat much. Her mother, I believe. It's a tough one, and it's far different to the Gina Carano issue, because she's not doubling down. Rosario, she's saying that everything else points that this is not who she is. So yeah, good fun. It's not cool for especially those that really relate to the character, and they've also got this weight behind it. So good on you, Anthony. We will hit a couple of other things in the article, a bit less challenging, as I pull this up. Asked about how the ball started rolling. Rosario Dawson says, actually, it came from fans online. Someone tweeted me and fan cast me. I retweeted back and I was like, absolutely, yes, please. And Ahsoka lives. And apparently that got the attention of someone who was doing the Star Wars press for years. She forwarding it to Dave Filoni. That sort of started the whole thing. I was like, oh my goodness, did I just get fan cast in something? And then nothing happened. Now, I've seen people complaining about this. That's like, oh, I don't listen to fan casts and all that. And listen, there's been 2 successful fan casts that have guessed or suggested something and it's followed through. And it's Donald Glover as Lando and Rosario Dawson. Anthony Gruber, who was the Han Solo or the Harrison Ford impersonator that was letting it be known he was keen for the role. A lot of fans were behind that. It didn't happen. Alden Ehrenreich. So out of, the 100 roles, out of 5 films, 2 seasons of TV, there's been 2 fan casts. That's out of like tens of thousand fan casts. Pierce Brosnan, Thrawn, Matt Smith, this, that, and the other. So let it slide. Let it slide. Dave Filoni says, that was the first time I looked at Rosario and I thought, I think maybe she would make a good Ahsoka. I just kept loosely aware of what she was up to, and she was doing some Marvel things. But I'd seen interviews with her where she would talk about wanting to play the character and her excitement. So it was interesting. Filoni said, Bresnikan says, people might assume that was when she asked that. When she asked that, it was already in the works. No, not at all. I was still trying to figure out how to get a Tatooine at that point. But when I started working with Jon Favreau, I'd bring up the character, classic Filoni. Hey, let's get in some of my characters. Ahsoka. Hey, all praise to the hat. No praise to people that are just like, he should do everything. He did, a great episode, in my opinion. But the keys to the castle, that is not it. And he doesn't want to be directing all the things. He wants to be on the set. He wants to be directing movies, not the whole. Very hard to do both. You got your Feige. He's not directing films. And if he's just learning how to do live action, there's a lot of stuff involved in this. It's not just like a head and an idea and this guy's made this one I love, so everything's going to be great. And also, what you think is great or is not great is different to other people. So having all these different creators come in, that will hopefully provide that every Star Wars fan gets something that is the best thing ever in the next, 3 years. It's very interesting. She says that when they were talking about the casting, it was before the release of The Mandalorian. So, people say, this is another thing that definitely debunks. People say that Lucasfilm wants Favreau to validify the rise of Skywalker. And this season was underway before Rise of Skywalker even came out. So it's not like, it's just, they're just trying to weave it in because that's they're trying to weave in Rebels, the prequels, the original trilogy, Clone Wars. So, weaving in the sequel trilogy as well. That's, What's Rebecca Edwards saying? I'm interested in this. More PR spin than heli savers. Interesting. And also a funny tidbit was she actually went to acting school with Hayden Christensen when she was 16. So Anakin and Ahsoka at acting school. It's like poetry, you guys. It's like poetry. I am convinced that Leslie Headland story series is Ahsoka and Sabine. Because she had the maps. Remember in the interview she was talking about how she had the atlas and stuff, and they're going to be traveling. It's another part of the puzzle. And again, I harp on this all the time. We need a point that we're moving forward from. And, you've got Cassian and Obi-Wan that's a bounce back, but this is the safest, most encompassing way to do it than have all these stories that are splintering off, then coming back together, rather than going in all these different times. Also about the Ahsoka reaction. People, one thing people are upset about is, it wasn't really, she wasn't put there in context with her history and stuff. And I just think about, if you watched the prequels and then you see Ben Kenobi in A New Hope, it's like, why? He's so out of context compared to everything we know about his history and Qui-Gon and Anakin. Of course, we know how it was made, but it's a similar thing. It's just this character is dropped in, cool as hell, and then there's this huge backstory if you want it. But for the Mandalorian story, you don't need it. When she's in her own series, then you can delve in to all that good stuff. They do talk about the head tails, and they did a lot of tests, and what would work with lightsabers and stuff like that, and to why it's shorter. So even the colors of her skin and how it was lit up, they had to, and that might be why the episode is so dark, is they had a lot of they wanted the light to work well, not be too bright orange. With her, what else we got here? Let's see, that's in my notes. Dun, dun, dun. I think that might be all the banging stuff. We'll end with this. I will have to wrap it up now because not a good day. And I will cover Ashley Eckstein's reaction, ROP Dave Prowse. Got some good stories, good Dave Prowse stories. Did you know he was secretly a pro wrestler in the 60s? He denied it, but it's true. More details coming tomorrow. Scoops. So I'll catch up on all that tomorrow, and I apologize. But this is cool. I'll pull it up on the screen. Bang. Bresnikan says, you also got to meet George Lucas on set. And Dawson says, I actually got to be there on the day of that photo. And that's the photo there with George hugging Grogu, who, of course, it's a tribute name to George, as I predicted. I was slightly off on how it would sound. But come on, Yoju. Geo, so close. Anyway, Dawson says, I actually got to be there on that day of the photo. Someone took a picture of George Lucas holding Baby Yoda. A terrible photographer took that photo, by the way. Come on. You've got the most state-of-the-art, studio in the world, and you're taking these blurry photos? You're kidding me. I was there that day. I was all dressed up. I was just off the side of that photo, which is so funny to think. But just there was this secret. All done up as Ahsoka. And I remember it broke the internet when that picture came out. It was just amazing, amazing moment. And we were all beside ourselves. It was definitely very geek out. What was your experience with George? I was definitely nerve-wracked, and it was great to be there with him and Dave. I mean, it's a lot of pressure, but it was also really fun. Both of them were looking at me, but they weren't. You know what I mean? They were looking at their imaginations come to life, which is that's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. Lidra, I will get to that mask question tomorrow, but we will end it there. Make sure you check out, if you've got some cash to spare, trans rights or humans rights, this is the way. Chuck in a couple bucks, get it over that 20,000 mark. And of course, if you are up for a t-shirt for just $9.95 plus a giant sticker pack, check out merchostore.com. There is a link off steelewars.com or in the show notes. There's the content tee, Your Snoke Theory Sucks, Shill, the Mendo, Blue Milk, Yavin. I think there's one Yub Nub in triple extra large. The Force, Supreme Bite, Lucas 1138, Yavin, I'm Ray's Parents that I'm wearing right now. The print on the back as well. Pog, 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 I'm with Snoke, and have you seen him? And there is some of the stickers that you will get thrown in there. We've got new ones, we've got old ones. It is all good. Sam Carey says, have a great day, Steele. May that force be with you. I appreciate that. And this episode, well, it hasn't really, but for today's conditions, it has definitely gone on
long enough.
So we will leave it there. Thank you guys so much for your support and your understanding. And may that force be. Algorithm. Come on, thumbs up. Come on. And check out, I just posted up my rapid reaction, my first watch of that episode, the 10-minute thing where I'm like, it's super funny. I think that's what people are telling me. but it's chock full of excitement. So check that out. It's on the YouTube now. Thanks so much, and may that force be with you.